All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 168-pound division. We're one of the best 168-pounders of the century. I think the number one of this century. Andre Ward's trainer, Virgil Hunter, has something to say about the fight between Canelo Alvarez, Jermell Charlo, and also Terence Bud Crawford. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and as you know, we've got some real big fights coming up for the rest of this year, and one of the biggest ones is the fight that will take place on September 30th between Canelo Alvarez and Jermell Charlo. Canelo Alvarez is the undisputed champion at 168 pounds, and having won the WBO, the WBA, the IBF, and the WBC, fighting against Jermell Charlo, who's moving up from 154 pounds, where he is currently the undisputed champion at that weight class. Although as soon as he walks into the ring against Canelo Alvarez, he will no longer be the undisputed champion at 154 pounds, as the WBO, otherwise known as whatever Bob orders, will be stripping him of that title and handing the title over to Tim Tszyu in something that I have to say I kind of agree with. I understand why the WBO would do it, because the WBO gave him a deadline to make the fight. I don't want to discourage sanctioning bodies from making people holding people responsible to following their rulings. But at the same time, I just have to wonder, if it was something like Canelo Alvarez, would they do that to him? Probably not. But whatever the case is, Tim Tszyu, who is not with Top Rank, but is with the PBC, will become the WBO champion on September 30th. Now, Andre Ward's former trainer and a current trainer in boxing and a very knowledgeable guy about the sport of boxing has something to say about Canelo Alvarez and what he thinks will take place with Canelo Alvarez when he fights Jermell Charlo, but also brought in the conversation about Terence Crawford moving up to fight Canelo Alvarez. And I got to tell you, man, I think that I think I agree with him. Now, before I get into the details of it, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you are a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much. We do this boxing talk every day, man. This is a boxing fan channel. I'm a boxing fan talking to other boxing fans about the sport of boxing. I'm not a media guy. I don't go interviewing fighters very often. I don't write boxing articles. I don't aspire to be Stephen A. Smith or anybody else that is actually in the world of journalism. We're just boxing fans talking boxing. So if you disagree, put it in the comment section, but please try not to act a buffoon, though a lot of people act buffoons, but it is what it is. I can act a buffoon sometimes myself, so I understand. However, in this particular instance, man, I'm with what Virgil Hunter had to say or has to say about Canelo Alvarez, and believing that Canelo Alvarez has avoided a lot of fights in his career, and that he very well could be in trouble with Jermell Charlo and can be in trouble with Terence Crawford as well. Now, this is my rationale behind it. My rationale is that, number one, Canelo Alvarez is not well, as to the notion of what he's done is he's moved up in weight. And I've said this a lot of times, that he moved up in weight and it allowed him to fight people that he was match made better with, because they were not as fast as as Canelo Alvarez is. And so it allowed him to have speed advantages over those guys And that's one of the advantages that a smaller guy has when fighting a bigger guy. Canelo Alvarez also has a couple talents that he possesses, along with a lot of skill, but he has two particular talents that stand out to me that make him more, put him in a good position as far as fighting bigger fighters, bigger fighters. And that is, number one, that he has very, very good power. How he got that power, people will put in the comment section what they believe about it. But at the end of the day, he most definitely has it. He's a very, very big puncher. He's a technically sound fighter. Doesn't have the fastest feet in the world, but has excellent upper body defense, especially when he was a little bit less shop worn than he is now with 60 plus fights. But that his speed, his power, and the fact that Canelo Alvarez also has a great chin. Canelo Alvarez, and I do believe that he proved that against Gennady Golovkin. You can say what you want to say about Gennady Golovkin and what he's done in his career and whether or not he has been, whether ever beaten a top fighter, because I don't think he has. But at the same time, I don't think that anybody would argue even for a second that Gennady Golovkin can't punch, because Gennady Golovkin can most definitely crack, and he hit Canelo Alvarez solidly on several occasions and didn't do anything to Canelo Alvarez. I don't know if Canelo Alvarez has, off the top of my head, I don't recall if Canelo Alvarez has ever been knocked down. I don't recall whether or not he's ever actually looked like he was in any trouble or hurt in a fight. So the combination between that power and the chin allowed him to move up and fight bigger fighters and have a lot of success. He also, definitely stayed away from some of the bigger fighters that he wouldn't have that issue with, that he wouldn't have, that he might not be able to have certain advantages in, like Arthur Beterbiev or a David Benavidez, or or now the young guy, the WBA world champion, David Morrell. But when he gets in there with a guy like Jermell Charlo, who started at 154 pounds and is now moving up in weight, and a guy whose frame is bigger than Terence Crawford's, bigger than Canelo Alvarez's, then now you have a guy that has the speed, somebody else that has power, and he has speed of foot, speed of hand, and that could be creating something a lot different for Canelo Alvarez, because Canelo Alvarez through his career has had problems with smaller guys. The same thing I do believe would hold true for Terence Crawford as well, if Terence Crawford was to fight him. Now, I don't know what Terence Crawford would be moving like if he was dumb enough to try to come in at 168 pounds and not just fight in the division, but weigh in somewhere around 161, 162. But I think you'd see a lot of the same difficulties. And I think both those guys are very live dogs in a fight with Canelo Alvarez. I don't think it's some scenario where Canelo's just going to walk through either one of those guys. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. I agree with Virgil Hunter, I think, and that's all I really have to say about it. Please let me know what you guys think in the comment section, because coming up on this fight with September 30th, man, I do not think this is some foregone conclusion for Canelo Alvarez. Even though I think if either one of these guys are able to beat him, they're going to have to do something really, really exceptional to get a win on the scorecards. Dimitri Bivol got a win on the scorecards, and he dang near, after maybe the third round, pitched a shutout, and still those scorecards were a lot closer than they should have been. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.